Sometimes we find answers to questions that haunted us our whole lives in places we never expected. And sometimes one small thing can change everything we thought we knew. Tomáš Novák is a car mechanic in a small town. He lives a quiet life in the workshop he built with his own hands. 15 years ago, his father disappeared without a trace. His mother never stopped waiting. Tomáš never stopped looking for answers. One day, a wealthy businessman comes to the workshop. He brings expensive luxury watches for repair. Tomáš opens the case. Inside, he sees initials. His father's initials. In that moment, his whole world turns upside down. This is not just a story about watches. This is a story about truth that waited 15 years. A story about a son who refused to forget. And about a secret that connects two complete strangers. Sometimes we find answers to questions that haunted us our whole lives in places we never expected. And sometimes one small thing can change everything we thought we knew. Tomáš Novák is a car mechanic in a small town. He lives a quiet life in the workshop he built with his own hands. 15 years ago, his father disappeared without a trace. His mother never stopped waiting. Tomáš never stopped looking for answers. One day, a wealthy businessman comes to the workshop. He brings expensive luxury watches for repair. Tomáš opens the case. Inside, he sees initials. His father's initials. In that moment, his whole world turns upside down. This is not just a story about watches. This is a story about truth that waited 15 years. A story about a son who refused to forget. And about a secret that connects two complete strangers. Before we continue with this story, tell us where you are watching from. And if this story touched you, please subscribe, because tomorrow I have something truly special prepared for you. Maybe write in the comments where you are from, or if you ever found something that belonged to someone you lost. Your stories matter to us. Let us know with a like if you want to hear how this unfolds. The morning started like any other morning in the small town of Wrocław. The sun rose slowly over the mountains that surrounded the valley. Birds sang in the trees. The air smelled of fresh bread from the bakery down the street. Tomáš Novák opened the heavy metal door of his workshop at exactly 7 o'clock. He always opened at 7. His father taught him that consistency builds trust. People need to know you will be there when you say you will be there. That lesson stayed with him even after his father was gone. The workshop was small but well organized. Tools hung on the walls in neat rows. Each tool had its place. The concrete floor was swept clean. Oil stains marked the spots where countless cars had been repaired over the years. The smell of motor oil and metal filled the air. To Tomáš, it smelled like home. This workshop was everything to him. He built it with money saved over 10 years. Every brick, every tool, every light bulb represented hours of hard work and sacrifice. Tomáš was 32 years old. He had dark hair that was starting to show a few grey strands at the temples. His hands were strong and calloused from years of working with engines and metal. His eyes were brown, like his mother's eyes. People said he looked like his father, but Tomáš could barely remember what his father looked like anymore. 15 years blurs memories. Photographs help, but they capture only frozen moments, not the living, breathing person. He walked to the small office at the back of the workshop. The office was simple. A desk, a chair, a filing cabinet, and a calendar on the wall. On the desk sat a framed photograph. In the photograph, a younger Tomáš stood next to his father. They were both smiling. His father had his arm around Tomáš's shoulders. Tomasz was 17 in that photograph. It was taken 3 weeks before his father disappeared. He looked at that photograph every morning. It was part of his routine. Look at the photograph. Remember his father. Promise himself he would find answers someday. His father's name was Karol Nowak. Karol was a businessman. He traveled often for work. He sold industrial equipment to factories across the country. He was good at his job. He made decent money. The family lived comfortably. Not wealthy, but comfortable. Karol was a kind man. He helped neighbors when they needed help. He taught Tomasz how to fix things, how to be patient, how to solve problems, step by step. He was a good father. Then one day, Karol didn't come home. He left for a business trip to Praha. He said he would be back in 3 days. 3 days passed, then 4, then 5. His mother called everyone she could think of. Business partners, friends, hotels, police. No one knew where Karol was. His car was found at a train station. His suitcase was in the trunk. His wallet was missing. There were no signs of struggle. No evidence of foul play. No body. Nothing. Just gone. The police investigated for months. They found nothing. No leads, no witnesses, no trace. People whispered theories. Maybe he ran away. Maybe he had debts. Maybe he had another family somewhere. But Tomasz never believed those theories. His father loved them. He would never leave them. Something happened to him. Something bad. Tomasz felt it in his bones. His mother, Anna, never recovered from the loss. She aged 20 years in the first year after Karol disappeared. Her hair turned grey. Lines appeared on her face. Her eyes lost their light. She kept Karol's things exactly as he left them. His clothes still hung in the closet. His reading glasses sat on the nightstand. His favorite coffee mug remained on the kitchen shelf. She couldn't let go. She waited. She believed he would come back. Even now, 15 years later, she still waited. Tomasz tried to move forward. He finished his apprenticeship. He worked at other garages. He saved money. He bought this building. He opened his own workshop. He built a life. But part of him never stopped searching. He checked missing person databases. He called old contacts. He followed any lead, no matter how small. Nothing ever came of it. The trail was cold. Too much time had passed. The workshop kept him busy. Cars needed fixing. Engines needed repair. Customers relied on him. He was good at his work. He inherited his father's patience and attention to detail. People trusted him. They came from all over the region to have him work on their vehicles. He fixed tractors, trucks, old cars, new cars. He could fix almost anything with an engine. His assistant, young Jakub, arrived at 7:30. Jakub was 19 years old. He was learning the trade. Tomasz saw himself in Jakub. The same eagerness. The same desire to understand how things work. Jakub's father worked in a factory. Jakub wanted something different. He wanted to work with his hands, but in his own way. Tomasz gave him that chance. "Good morning, boss," Jakub said cheerfully. "Good morning," Tomasz replied. "We have a full day today. The old Skoda needs new brakes. The Volvo needs an oil change. And someone is bringing a motorcycle this afternoon." Jakub nodded. He put on his work overalls. He grabbed tools from the wall. They worked well together. Tomasz taught him the way his father taught him. Patiently. Step by step. Explaining not just how to do something, but why it was done that way. The morning passed quickly. They changed the brakes on the Škoda. The work was straightforward. The old brake pads were worn down to almost nothing. The owner had waited too long. Tomáš showed Jakub how to properly inspect brake systems, how to identify problems before they became dangerous. At 11 o'clock, the door to the workshop opened. A man walked in. He was not from this town. Tomáš could tell immediately. The man wore an expensive suit, dark blue, perfectly tailored. His shoes were polished leather. He carried a leather briefcase. His watch was gold. Everything about him spoke of money and city life. He looked out of place in this small workshop, in this small town. The man was perhaps 50 years old. He had grey hair, neatly combed. His face was clean-shaven. He walked with confidence. The confidence of someone used to getting what they want. "Good morning," the man said. His voice was smooth, educated. "Are you Tomáš Novák?" "Yes, I am," Tomáš replied. He wiped his hands on a rag. "How can I help you?" "My name is Pavel Dvorak," the man said. "I have an unusual request." Tomáš waited. He was curious. People with unusual requests usually meant interesting work. "I have a watch that needs repair," Pavel said. "I know this is a car workshop, but I was told you are good with mechanical things. Very good, and I need someone I can trust." "A watch?" Tomáš asked. "I work on cars, not watches." "I understand," Pavel said. "But this is a special watch. Very valuable, and very old. I took it to watchmakers in Praha. They wanted to send it to Switzerland. That would take months. I don't have months. I was told you have a gift for understanding mechanisms, that you can fix things others cannot fix." Tomáš felt flattered but uncertain. "Who told you about me?" "A mutual acquaintance," Pavel said. "Someone who respects your work. I would pay you well." "Very well." Tomáš hesitated. He had never worked on a watch, but he understood mechanisms, gears, springs, precision parts. The principles were similar whether the mechanism was large or small, and the money would help. Business was good, but not great. Extra money was always welcome. "Can I see the watch?" Tomáš asked. Pavel opened his briefcase. Inside was a wooden box. The box was old, polished dark wood with brass corners. He lifted the box carefully. He set it on Tomáš's workbench. He opened the lid. Inside the box, nestled in red velvet, was a pocket watch. The watch was beautiful. Gold case, intricate engravings on the cover. Tomáš could see immediately that it was old. Perhaps 70 or 80 years old. Maybe older. The craftsmanship was extraordinary. "It belonged to my grandfather," Pavel said. "Then to my father. Now it belongs to me. It stopped working 2 weeks ago. I want it working again." Tomáš picked up the watch carefully. It was heavy. Real gold. He turned it over in his hands. He admired the engravings, flowers and vines in delicate patterns. He looked for the mechanism to open the case. He found the small button on the side. He pressed it. The front cover popped open. The watch face was white enamel with black Roman numerals. The hands were frozen at 10 minutes past 3. Tomáš looked closer. He needed to open the back to see the mechanism. He found the back cover. He pressed the release. The back cover opened. Inside was the watch mechanism. Tiny gears, springs, jewels. Everything was dusty. The oil had dried. Some parts looked worn. But Tomáš could see the beauty of the engineering. Whoever made this watch was a master craftsman. Then he saw something else. On the inside of the back cover, there were initials engraved. Small letters, elegant script. Ken Tomasz's heart stopped. Ken Karel Novak, his father's initials. His hands began to shake. He stared at the letters. This could not be. It made no sense. How could this man have his father's watch? His father never owned a watch like this. Did he? His mind raced. Questions flooded his thoughts. He looked up at Pavel. Pavel was watching him carefully. "Is something wrong?" Pavel asked. His voice was calm. Too calm. "These initials," Tomasz said. His voice sounded strange to his own ears. "KN. Where did you get this watch?" "I told you," Pavel said. "It belonged to my grandfather, then my father, then me." "But these initials," Tomasz insisted, "they are my father's initials. Karel Novak." This was his watch. Pavel's expression didn't change. "I think you are mistaken," he said. "Many people have those initials. It is a coincidence." "No," Tomasz said. He felt anger rising. "No, this is not a coincidence. My father disappeared 15 years ago, and now you walk into my workshop with a watch that has his initials inside. How do you explain that?" Pavel was silent for a moment. Then he reached for the watch. "I think perhaps I should take this elsewhere," he said. "No," Tomasz said. He pulled the watch back. "Not until you tell me how you got this. Not until you tell me the truth." The two men stared at each other. The workshop was silent. Jakub stood in the corner, frozen, sensing the tension. The watch sat between them. A small object, a piece of metal and gears. But in that moment, it represented everything. All the years of searching, all the unanswered questions, all the grief and loss. Finally, Pavel spoke. His voice was quiet. "Perhaps we should talk," he said. "But not here. There are things you need to understand. Things about your father. Things I was hoping you would never need to know." Tomasz closed the workshop early that afternoon. He told Jakub to go home. Jakub asked no questions. He could see this was serious. He could see his boss needed space. Pavel waited outside in his car. A black Mercedes. Expensive. Polished. Everything about this man spoke of wealth and secrets. Tomasz locked the workshop door. He walked to the car. Pavel gestured for him to get in. Tomasz hesitated. He didn't trust this man, but he needed answers. He needed to know the truth. He got into the car. The leather seats were soft. The interior smelled of expensive cologne and new leather. Pavel started the engine. They drove in silence through the town. People on the sidewalks waved at Tomasz. He waved back automatically. His mind was elsewhere. His mind was on the watch, on the initials, on his father. They drove for 20 minutes, out of town, into the hills. Pavel turned onto a small dirt road. The road led to an old abandoned quarry. Nobody came here anymore. The quarry had been closed for 30 years. Pavel parked the car. He turned off the engine. The silence was heavy. Only the sound of wind through the trees. Only the distant call of birds. Pavel turned to face Tomasz. His expression was serious. Tired. Like a man carrying a heavy burden for too long. "What I am about to tell you must stay between us," Pavel said. "If you share this information, people could die. Do you understand?" Tomasz stared at him. People could die? What kind of situation had he walked into? He nodded
Business
slowly.
partners of a sort.
I understand, he said.
Back then,
But
I
I
was
need
not
the
the
truth.
man you see today.
All of it. I was involved
took a
in
deep
things.
breath.
Illegal things.
Your father and I
Import
knew
and
each other,
export,
he began.
Items that
We were
should
not
cross
friends.
borders. We were items that people pay large amounts of money for. Your father worked with me. Not willingly at first, but circumstances forced his hand. Tomasz felt his chest tighten. His father? Involved in illegal business? No, that was impossible. His father was honest. His father was good. You're lying, Tomasz said. My father would never do such things. Pavel shook his head. I understand this is hard to hear, but it is the truth. Your father needed money. His own business was failing. He had debts, serious debts. Men were threatening your family. He came to me for help. I gave him a way out. But that way required him to help me move certain items across borders. He had contacts. He had legitimacy. He was perfect for what I needed. Tomasz wanted to hit this man. He wanted to scream, but he forced himself to stay calm. He needed to hear everything. Keep talking, he said through clenched teeth. For 2 years your father worked with me, Pavel continued. He moved items. He made deliveries. He asked no questions. He did what needed to be done. And he was paid well. Very well. Enough to clear his debts. Enough to secure your family's future. Everything was fine. Until it wasn't. What happened? Tomasz asked. Pavel looked out the window. His eyes were distant. There was a shipment, he said. A very valuable shipment. Diamonds. Uncut diamonds from Africa. Worth millions. Your father was supposed to deliver them to buyers in Germany. But he never arrived. The diamonds disappeared. Your father disappeared. Everyone assumed he took them, that he ran away with millions in stolen diamonds. But I never believed that. Your father was not that kind of man. Tomasz felt dizzy. His whole world was tilting. Everything he thought he knew about his father was crumbling. Then what happened to him? Tomasz demanded. Where is he? Pavel was quiet for a long moment. I believe he was killed, he said softly. I believe someone else took the diamonds, someone who knew about the shipment, someone who saw an opportunity. They killed your father. They took the diamonds. They made it look like your father was the thief. Who? Tomasz asked. Who killed him? I don't know, Pavel said. I have spent 15 years trying to find out. I have asked questions. I have followed leads. I have found nothing. Whoever did this was professional. They left no trace, no evidence, nothing. Tomasz felt tears burning in his eyes. He fought them back. He would not cry in front of this man. And the watch? He asked. How do you have my father's watch? Pavel reached into his jacket pocket. He pulled out an envelope. Old, yellow with age. He handed it to Tomasz. This arrived at my office 3 months after your father disappeared, Pavel said. There was no return address. No note. Just this watch inside. I kept it all these years. I kept it as a reminder that I owed your father, that I failed to protect him, that his blood was on my hands because I brought him into that world. Tomasz opened the envelope. Inside was nothing, just the faint smell of old paper. He looked at the watch in his other hand, the watch his father supposedly owned. A watch he never knew existed. "Why did you bring it to me?" Tomasz asked. "Why now?" "Because I am dying," Pavel said simply. "Cancer. The doctors give me 6 months, maybe less. I wanted to return the watch to your family, but I could not simply mail it. I needed to know what kind of man you were. I needed to see if you deserved the truth." "And now?" Tomasz asked. "Now what?" Pavel looked at him directly. "Now you have a choice," he said. "You can take the watch. You can go home. You can forget everything I told you. You can live your life. Or you can help me find out what really happened. I have resources. I have contacts. I have information I never shared with police. Together, maybe we can find the truth. Maybe we can find who killed your father. Maybe we can clear his name. But it will be dangerous. The people involved are powerful. They will not want the truth to come out." Tomasz looked at the watch in his hand. The weight of it felt enormous now. It wasn't just metal and gears anymore. It was his father's life, his father's secrets, his father's death. He thought about his mother, still waiting after 15 years, still believing her husband would come home. If Tomasz walked away now, she would never know the truth. She would die waiting. She would die with hope, yes, but also with endless wondering. He thought about his father, the man who taught him to fix things, who taught him patience, who taught him that every problem has a solution if you look carefully enough. His father would not want him to walk away. His father would want the truth known. "I'll help you," Tomasz said. "Tell me where to start." Pavel nodded slowly. A small smile crossed his face. "Your father would be proud," he said. "You have his strength, his determination. We start with the last person who saw your father alive. A woman named Vera Malikova. She worked at the train station in Praha. She sold your father his ticket the day he disappeared. I found her 2 years ago. She remembers that day. She remembers something strange." "What did she remember?" Tomasz asked. "She remembers your father was not alone," Pavel said. "She remembers a man standing near him, a man who seemed to be watching him. She never told police because nobody asked the right questions, but she told me. She gave me a description, and I have been searching for that man ever since." Tomasz felt a surge of energy, a lead. After 15 years, a real lead. "When can we talk to her?" "Tomorrow," Pavel said. "I already arranged a meeting. She lives in a small village outside Praha. She is old now, but her memory is sharp. She wants to help. She felt guilty all these years for not speaking up sooner." They sat in silence for a few minutes. The sun was setting. Long shadows stretched across the abandoned quarry. Tomasz looked at the watch again. He opened it. He looked at the initials. KN, his father's mark, his father's legacy. "I need to tell my mother," Tomasz said. "She deserves to know." "No," Pavel said firmly. "Not yet. If word gets out that we are investigating, the people responsible will disappear. Or worse, they will come after you, after your mother. We must be careful. We must be smart. When we have proof, when we have evidence, then you can tell her. But not before." Tomasz wanted to argue. But he knew Pavel was right. His mother had waited 15 years. She could wait a little longer, especially if it meant finally getting real answers. Pavel started the car. They drove back to town in silence. Pavel dropped Tomasz off at the workshop. Before Tomasz got out, Pavel handed him a business card. "My private number," Pavel said. "Call me if you think of anything, if you remember anything your father said or did before he disappeared. Any detail could be important." Tomasz took the card. He got out of the car. He watched Pavel drive away. The taillights disappeared into the darkness. Tomasz stood alone in the empty street. He looked up at the stars, the same stars his father looked at 15 years ago. Somewhere out there was the truth. Somewhere out there was the person who destroyed his family. And Tomasz was going to find them. No matter what it took. No matter how long it took. He would find them. He owed his father that much. He owed his mother that much. He owed himself that much. He walked to his apartment above the workshop. He climbed the stairs slowly. His legs felt heavy. His mind was racing. Inside his small apartment, he sat at the kitchen table. He placed the watch in front of him. He stared at it. This small object had changed everything. One watch, one set of initials, and his entire world was different now. He had questions he never thought to ask. He had a mission he never expected to have. And he had hope. Fragile, uncertain hope. But hope nonetheless. Tomasz did not sleep that night. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind replayed every conversation with his father, every memory, every moment. He searched for clues he might have missed, signs that his father was involved in something dangerous. But he found nothing. His father had been good at hiding secrets, or maybe Tomasz had been too young to notice. He was only 17 when his father disappeared. He thought he knew everything then. Now he realized he knew nothing. Morning came slowly. Grey light filtered through the window. Tomasz got up. He made coffee. Strong and black. He needed to be sharp today. He needed to be ready. Pavel was picking him up at 8 o'clock. They would drive to Praha. They would meet Vera Malikova. They would get answers. At least, he hoped they would get answers. He opened the workshop at 7 as always. Routine helped. Routine kept him grounded. Jakub arrived at 7:30. He looked at Tomasz with concern. "Are you okay, boss?" Jakub asked. "You look tired." "I didn't sleep well," Tomasz said. "I need you to handle things today. I have to go to Praha." "Business." Jakub nodded. "No problem. I can handle it." Tomasz trusted him. Jakub was a good worker, responsible, careful. He would take care of the workshop. At 8 o'clock, Pavel's black Mercedes pulled up outside. Tomasz grabbed his jacket. He locked the office. He told Jakub he would be back tomorrow. Maybe the day after. Jakub asked no questions. Tomasz appreciated that. He got into the car. Pavel looked tired too. Dark circles under his eyes. His skin was pale. The cancer was eating him from inside. But his eyes were still sharp, still determined. "Good morning," Pavel said. "Are you ready?" "As ready as I can be," Tomasz replied. Pavel handed him a folder. Inside were documents, photographs, notes. "This is everything I have on your father's case," Pavel said. "I want you to read it on the drive. Familiarize yourself with the details. When we talk to Vera, you need to know what questions to ask." Tomasz opened the folder. The first document was a police report, filed 3 days after his father disappeared. He read it carefully. The report stated that Karol Novak was reported missing by his wife Anna. Last seen boarding a train to Praha. His car found at the station. No signs of foul play. Investigation ongoing. But Tomasz could tell from the tone of the report that police didn't take it seriously. They thought Karl ran away. They thought he abandoned his family. The investigation was half-hearted at best. The next document was a financial record. It showed his father's bank accounts. The numbers shocked Tomasz. His father had debts, serious debts, over 200,000 crowns. Money owed to various creditors, some legitimate banks, some not so legitimate. Tomasz had no idea. His mother never mentioned debts. Maybe she didn't know either. Maybe his father protected her from that knowledge. There were photographs. One showed his father at a train station. The photograph was grainy, black and white, taken from a security camera. His father stood at the ticket counter. He wore a dark coat. He carried a briefcase. He looked nervous. Tomasz could see it in his posture, in the way he held his shoulders. His father was afraid of something, or someone. Another photograph showed a man standing in the background, blurry, indistinct, but definitely watching Karl. The man wore a hat pulled low over his face, a long coat, hands in pockets. He stood about 10 meters behind Karl. Vera noticed this man. She remembered him. Tomasz studied the photograph. He tried to make out features, but the image quality was too poor. The man could be anyone. There were more documents, reports from Pavel's private investigators, interviews with people who knew Karl, business associates, friends, neighbors. Most said the same things. Karl was a good man, hard-working, loved his family. Nobody suspected he was involved in anything illegal. Nobody except Pavel. One report caught Tomasz's attention, an interview with a man named Viktor Baron. Viktor worked at a shipping company. He helped move freight across borders. The investigator's notes said Viktor became nervous when asked about Karl. He claimed not to know him well, but his body language suggested otherwise. He was hiding something. The investigator recommended following up, but there was no follow-up report. Tomasz made a mental note. Viktor Baron, another name to investigate. They drove through the countryside. Fields and forests passed by the window. Small villages with church steeples, old farmhouses. Everything looked peaceful, calm. But Tomasz knew that beneath the surface darkness existed. Secrets existed. His father's death proved that. Pavel drove in silence. He seemed lost in thought. Finally, Tomasz spoke. "Tell me about the diamonds," he said. "Where did they come from?" Pavel glanced at him, then back at the road. "Africa," he said. "Sierra Leone. Conflict diamonds, mined in war zones, sold to fund weapons and soldiers. Very illegal, very valuable. I had a contact who could get them. I had buyers in Europe who would pay premium prices. Your father was supposed to be the middleman. He would take possession of the diamonds in Praha. He would transport them to Germany. He would deliver them to the buyers. Simple. Clean. Or it should have been." "What went wrong?" Tomasz asked. "I don't know," Pavel said. "Your father took the train to Praha as planned. He was supposed to meet my contact at a specific location, exchange money for diamonds, then continue to Germany. But he never showed up at the meeting point. My contact waited for hours. Nothing. I tried calling your father. No answer. I tried everything. He vanished. And the diamonds? They vanished too, Pavel said. My contact never saw them. The buyers never received them. Somewhere between your father boarding that train and the meeting point, everything disappeared. So someone knew about the shipment, Tomasz said. Someone intercepted him. Yes, Pavel agreed. Someone knew the details, the time, the location, the value. It was not random. It was planned. Who else knew? Tomasz asked. Only 3 people, Pavel said. Me, my contact, and your father. I trust my contact completely. We worked together for 20 years. He would never betray me. So that leaves your father. Or someone your father told. My father wouldn't steal from you, Tomasz said firmly. He needed the money, yes. But he was not a thief. He was not a killer. I believe you, Pavel said quietly. I believe your father was a victim, not a criminal. But someone wanted everyone to think he was a criminal. Someone wanted to destroy his reputation along with his life. Why? Tomasz asked. Why not just take the diamonds and disappear? Why kill him? Because your father could identify them, Pavel said. Your father knew who took the diamonds. So they had to eliminate him. They had to make sure he could never talk. And framing him as a thief was convenient. It stopped people from looking too hard. It made everyone assume he ran away. Tomasz felt anger building in his chest. His father died protecting a secret. Died because he got involved in something he should never have touched. But Tomasz also felt sympathy. His father was desperate. He was trying to save his family. He made bad choices, but his intentions were good. They reached the outskirts of Praha. The city sprawled before them, old buildings mixed with new construction. Church spires reached toward grey clouds. Traffic increased. Pavel navigated through the streets with practiced ease. He had made this drive many times. They drove for another 30 minutes, out of the city centre, into the suburbs, quiet residential areas with small houses and gardens. Finally, Pavel turned onto a narrow street. He parked in front of a small cottage. The cottage was old, but well-maintained. Flowers grew in the front garden. Lace curtains hung in the windows. This is it, Pavel said. Vera lives here alone. Her husband died 5 years ago. She has no children. She spends her days gardening and remembering. She has been waiting for us. They got out of the car, walked to the front door. Pavel knocked, footsteps inside. Slow, careful. The door opened. An old woman stood there. She must have been 70 or 75. She had white hair pulled back in a bun. She wore a simple dress and cardigan. Her face was lined with wrinkles, but her eyes were bright, alert. She looked at Pavel, then at Tomasz. Her expression softened. You must be Karol's son, she said to Tomasz. You have his eyes. Yes, Tomasz said. His voice caught in his throat. Yes, I am his son. Please come in, Vera said. I have been expecting you. I have tea ready. They entered the cottage. Inside was warm and cozy. Old furniture, photographs on the walls, the smell of baking bread. Vera led them to a small sitting room. She gestured for them to sit. She poured tea from a porcelain pot. Her hands shook slightly, but she managed without spilling. I am so sorry about your father, Vera said to Tomasz. I should have spoken up sooner. I should have told police what I saw. But I was afraid. I was just a ticket seller. Nobody listened to people like me. It's not your fault, Tomasz said gently. You're helping now. That's what matters. Vera nodded. She sat down across from them. She held her teacup with both hands, as if drawing warmth from it. Tell us what you remember, Pavel said. Everything, even small details. Vera closed her eyes. She was quiet for a moment, remembering. When she spoke, her voice was steady. It was a Tuesday, she said. Morning, around 10 o'clock. Not many people at the station. Your father came to my window. He wanted a ticket to Praha main station. One way. I remember thinking it was strange. Usually people bought round-trip tickets, but he only wanted one way. Did he seem nervous? Tomasz asked. Vera nodded slowly. Yes, she said. He kept looking over his shoulder. He fumbled with his wallet, dropped coins on the counter. I had to help him pick them up. His hands were shaking. I asked if he was feeling well. He said he was fine, just in a hurry. But I could tell he was lying. Something was wrong. Did you see anyone with him? Pavel asked. Not with him exactly, Vera said. But there was a man, standing near the entrance. He was watching your father. I noticed because he didn't move. Everyone at a train station is moving, coming or going, but this man just stood there, watching. What did he look like? Tomasz leaned forward. Can you describe him? Vera opened her eyes. She looked at Tomasz. Tall, she said. Taller than your father. Maybe 190 centimeters. Broad shoulders. He wore a dark coat. Black or navy blue. And a hat. One of those fedora hats. Pulled low. I couldn't see his face clearly. But I remember his hands. Why his hands? Pavel asked. Because he kept them in his pockets, Vera said. But once he took out his right hand to check his watch, I saw a scar, a big scar across the back of his hand, like a burn mark. It was distinctive. That's good, Pavel said. That's very good. A scar like that can help identify him. Did you see where he went? Tomasz asked. Vera shook her head. Your father took his ticket. He walked toward the platform. The man followed. Not close, but following. I watched them until they disappeared into the crowd. That was the last time I saw your father. I read about his disappearance in the newspaper weeks later. I wanted to tell police about the man with the scar. But I was afraid. What if he came back? What if he hurt me? I am ashamed of my silence. You were protecting yourself, Tomasz said. I understand. We all do what we must to survive. But now you're helping us. That takes courage. Vera smiled sadly. I am old now, she said. I have less to fear. And I have carried this guilt for 15 years. It is time to put it down. Is there anything else? Pavel asked. Anything at all? Vera thought for a moment. There is one more thing, she said. After your father left, another man came to my window. He bought a ticket on the same train. Same destination. I didn't think much of it at the time. But looking back, I wonder if he was connected somehow. What did this man look like? Tomasz asked. Younger, Vera said. Maybe 30 years old. Short, dark hair, clean-shaven. He wore glasses, wire-frame glasses, and he had a nervous energy about him, like he was excited or scared. Hard to tell which. He paid cash, didn't make eye contact, just took his ticket and left quickly. Did he follow the other two men? Pavel asked. I don't know, Vera said. By then I had other customers. I lost track of him. Pavel pulled out a notepad. He wrote down everything Vera said. 2 men, one tall with a scar on his hand, one younger with glasses. Both following Karl. Both suspicious. This was more than they had before. Much more. Vera, you have been incredibly helpful, Pavel said. If you remember anything else, please call me. He gave her his card. She took it with trembling fingers. I will, she promised. And please, find out what happened. Your father deserves justice. Tomasz felt emotion rising in his throat. He stood up. He took Vera's hand in both of his. Thank you, he said. You have given me hope. That is a precious gift. Vera squeezed his hand. You are a good son, she said. Your father would be proud. They left the cottage, walked back to the car. The afternoon sun broke through the clouds. Everything looked brighter suddenly, like a sign. In the car, Pavel sat quietly. He stared at his notepad. 2 men, he said finally. I expected one. But 2 suggests something bigger, a coordinated effort. Who were they working for? Tomasz asked. That is what we need to find out, Pavel said. The man with the scar is our best lead. A scar like that is memorable. Someone will recognize the description. We need to ask around. Show the description to people who were in that world back then. Someone will know him. Where do we start? Tomasz asked. With Viktor Beren, Pavel said. The man from the shipping company. He was nervous when my investigator asked about your father. Maybe he knows something about these 2 men. Maybe he was involved somehow. We need to push him harder than my investigator did. Where can we find him? Tomasz asked. He still works at the same shipping company, Pavel said. In the warehouse district. We can go there now, or we can wait until tomorrow. Give ourselves time to plan our approach. Let's go now, Tomasz said. I don't want to wait. Every day that passes is another day the truth stays buried. Pavel nodded. He started the car. They drove back toward the industrial part of Praha. Warehouses lined the streets. Trucks came and went. The smell of diesel fuel and metal filled the air. Pavel knew where he was going. He had been here before. They parked outside a large warehouse with the name Beren Transport painted on the side. So Viktor owns the company now, Tomasz said. He did well for himself. Maybe too well, Pavel said. Sometimes sudden wealth comes from dirty money. Let's see what he has to say. They walked to the main entrance. Inside was a small office. A secretary sat at a desk. She looked up as they entered. Can I help you? She asked. We need to speak with Viktor Beren, Pavel said. It's urgent. Do you have an appointment? She asked. No, Pavel said. But he will want to see us. Tell him it's about Karl Novak. The secretary's expression changed. Just for a moment. A flicker of recognition. Or fear. She picked up the phone, dialed an extension, spoke quietly. Hung up. He will see you, she said. 2nd floor. Office at the end of the hall. They climbed the stairs. The building was functional but not fancy. Concrete floors, metal railings, the smell of oil and cardboard. At the end of the hall was a door with Viktor Beren, director written on a brass plate. Pavel knocked. A voice called out. Come in. They entered. The office was larger than expected. Windows overlooked the warehouse floor below. A desk sat in the center. Behind the desk sat a man in his 50s. He had a round face, thinning hair. He wore a shirt with sleeves rolled up. He looked comfortable, successful. But when he saw Pavel, his comfort disappeared. His face went pale. "Pavel Dvorak," Viktor said. His voice was tight. "I heard you were sick." "Dying," Pavel said casually. "But not dead yet." Viktor's eyes shifted to Tomasz. "Who is this?" "This is Tomasz Novak," Pavel said. "Karol's son." Viktor stood up abruptly. His chair rolled backward. He looked like he wanted to run, but he was trapped. "I don't know anything about Karol," Viktor said quickly. "I told your investigator that years ago." "You're lying," Pavel said. His voice was cold, hard. "You knew Karol. You worked with him. You helped him move shipments, and you know what happened to him." "I don't," Viktor insisted. "I swear I don't." Tomasz stepped forward. His hands were clenched into fists. "My father is dead because of people like you," he said. "People who valued money more than human life. If you know something, tell us now, or I promise you will regret your silence." Viktor looked between them. He was sweating. His shirt was damp under the arms. Finally, he sat back down. He put his head in his hands. "Okay," he said quietly. "Okay. I'll tell you what I know. But you have to promise to protect me. If certain people find out I talked, I'm a dead man." "We promise," Pavel said. "Now talk." Viktor took a deep breath. "I did work with Karol," he admitted. "He needed to move items across borders. I had the trucks, I had the routes, I had the paperwork to make things look legitimate. We worked together for about a year. Everything was fine, until that last shipment." "The diamonds," Tomasz said. Viktor nodded. "Yes." "The diamonds. Karol told me about them. He said it was the big one, the job that would clear all his debts, set him up for life. But he was scared. He said he felt like someone was watching him, following him. I told him to be careful, but he said he had no choice. He had to go through with it." "Did he tell you who was watching him?" Pavel asked. "No," Viktor said. "He didn't know. But he suspected someone from inside your organization, someone who knew about the shipment and wanted to steal it." "That's impossible," Pavel said. "Only 3 people knew. Myself, my contact, and Karol. Unless," Viktor said slowly, "unless your contact told someone else, or unless there was a leak you didn't know about." Pavel went quiet. Tomasz could see him thinking, reconsidering everything. "Who was your contact?" Tomasz asked. Pavel looked at him. "A man named Anton Rezek," Pavel said. "He worked for me for 20 years. I trusted him completely." "Where is he now?" Tomasz asked. "Dead," Pavel said. "He died in a car accident 6 months after your father disappeared." "Convenient," Viktor said. "Very convenient." Pavel's face darkened. "Are you suggesting Anton was involved?" "I'm not suggesting anything," Viktor said. "I'm just saying the timing is suspicious. Everyone connected to that shipment ended up dead or disappeared. Except you," Pavel said pointedly. Viktor held up his hands. "I was just a transporter," he said. "I moved goods. I didn't know details. I didn't know values. I was kept in the dark on purpose. That's how these things work. You know that. Did you see anyone following Karl? Tomáš asked. The day he took the train to Praha. Viktor hesitated. Yes, he said finally. I saw him at the station that morning. I was dropping off a shipment nearby. I saw Karl buying a ticket. And I saw two men watching him. Can you describe them? Pavel pulled out his notepad. One was tall, Viktor said. Very tall. Wore a long coat and hat. I couldn't see his face. The other was younger. Shorter. Wore glasses. They stayed separate, but they were clearly together. They both followed Karl onto the platform. That matches what Vera told us, Tomáš said to Pavel. Two men. Same description. Did you recognize them? Pavel asked Viktor. No, Viktor said. I had never seen them before. But they looked professional, like they knew what they were doing. This wasn't their first time. After that day, did you ever see them again? Never, Viktor said. And I didn't want to. I got out of the business after Karl disappeared. I took my savings and started this legitimate company. I wanted nothing to do with that world anymore. Pavel and Tomáš left Viktor's office with more questions than answers. Two men followed Karl. Both matched Vera's description. Viktor confirmed it. But who were they? Who sent them? And where were they now? The drive back to Wrocław was quiet. Both men were deep in thought, processing information, connecting pieces. The puzzle was starting to take shape, but crucial pieces were still missing. Pavel dropped Tomáš off at the workshop. It was evening now. The sun was setting behind the mountains. Call me tomorrow, Pavel said. I need to make some inquiries, talk to old contacts, see if anyone recognizes the description of the man with the scar. Tomáš nodded. He watched Pavel drive away. Then he climbed the stairs to his apartment. Inside, he made dinner. Simple food. Bread, cheese, soup. But he barely tasted it. His mind was elsewhere. He kept thinking about his father, about the fear he must have felt, knowing someone was following him, knowing he was in danger, but going anyway. Because he needed the money, because he wanted to protect his family. After dinner, Tomáš opened an old box he kept in the closet. Inside were his father's things, items his mother couldn't bear to look at anymore. She gave them to Tomáš years ago. He hadn't opened the box in a long time. Now he searched through it carefully, looking for anything that might help. There were photographs, his father at various ages, young and smiling, older and more serious. There were documents, birth certificate, marriage certificate, business cards. There was a watch, not the gold pocket watch, a different watch, a cheap digital watch Karl wore every day. Tomáš held it. The battery was dead. The screen was blank. But it still smelled faintly of his father's cologne. At the bottom of the box, Tomáš found a notebook. Small, leather-bound. He opened it. Inside were notes in his father's handwriting. Dates, names, numbers. It looked like a business ledger. Tomáš read through it carefully. Most entries were mundane. Deliveries made, payments received, standard business records. But then he found something interesting. 3 weeks before his father disappeared, there was an entry that stood out. Meeting with AR, discussed final arrangement, high risk but necessary. Must protect family at all costs. AR Anton Rezek, Pavel's contact, the man who supposedly died in a car accident. Tomáš's pulse quickened. He kept reading. 2 weeks before the disappearance, Another entry. Feeling watched. Same car outside house, 2 days in row. Blue sedan. License plate unclear. Coincidence or threat? Someone was watching his father. His father knew it. He wrote it down. But he went ahead with the job anyway. 1 week before the disappearance. Final entry. Tomorrow is the day. If something happens to me, the truth is in the safe. Code is Anna's birthday backward. Tell her I love her. Tell Tomasz I am proud of him. Forgive me for the choices I made. Tomasz's hands trembled. His father knew he might die. He left a message. And he mentioned a safe. But what safe? Tomasz never knew his father had a safe. He read the entry again. The truth is in the safe. What truth? Evidence? Names? Proof of who was behind everything? He needed to find that safe. But where was it? He thought about his childhood home, the house where he grew up. His mother still lived there. Could the safe be there? Hidden somewhere? He grabbed his phone, called his mother. She answered after 3 rings. Tomasz? Is everything okay? Yes, Mama, he said. I need to ask you something. Did Father have a safe? A safe where he kept important documents? There was silence on the other end. Then yes, she said slowly. He had a small safe in his office, in the wall behind the bookshelf. Why do you ask? I need to see what's inside, Tomasz said. It might be important. His mother was quiet again. Then, I never opened it, she said. I didn't know the code. Your father never told me. I tried a few times over the years, but I couldn't figure it out. I know the code, Tomasz said. Can I come over now? It's late, his mother said. Can't it wait until morning? No, Tomasz said. This can't wait. I'll explain everything when I get there. 30 minutes, okay? His mother agreed reluctantly. Tomasz grabbed his jacket and keys. He ran down to his car, drove through the dark streets to his mother's house. The house looked the same as it always did. Small, modest, lights glowing in the windows. His mother opened the door before he could knock. She looked worried, tired. What is this about? She asked. Come inside, Tomasz said gently. Sit down. I need to tell you something. They sat in the living room, the same furniture from 15 years ago, the same photographs on the walls, everything frozen in time. His mother waited, her hands folded in her lap. Tomasz took a deep breath. He told her everything, about Pavel, about the watch, about his father's involvement in illegal business, about the diamonds, about the 2 men who followed him. His mother listened in silence. Her face showed no emotion. When he finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she spoke. I knew, she said softly. You knew? Tomasz was shocked. Not the details, she said. But I knew he was involved in something dangerous. He was different those last few months, nervous, scared. He wouldn't tell me what was wrong. He said he was protecting me, that the less I knew, the safer I would be. Why didn't you tell me? Tomasz asked. Because you were a boy, she said. You didn't need that burden. And what good would it have done? Your father was gone. Knowing the truth wouldn't bring him back. But now we can find out what really happened, Tomasz said. We can find who killed him. We can clear his name. His mother looked at him with sad eyes. Will that change anything? She asked. Will that bring him back? Will that erase 15 years of pain? No, Tomasz admitted. But it will give us closure. It will give us truth. And maybe it will give Father the justice he deserves. His mother nodded slowly. Then let's open the safe, she said. They went to his father's old office. The room was exactly as Karol left it. Desk, chair, bookshelf, files. His mother had kept it like a shrine. Tomasz went to the bookshelf. He pulled it away from the wall. Behind it was a small wall safe, metal, grey, with a digital keypad. He thought about the code. Anna's birthday backward. His mother was born on the 12th of March, 1963. Backward would be 369-13012. He entered the numbers. The safe beeped. The lock clicked. The door swung open. Inside was a manila envelope. Thick, heavy. Tomasz pulled it out carefully. His hands were shaking. He opened the envelope. Inside were documents, photographs, a USB drive. He spread everything on the desk. His mother stood beside him, looking over his shoulder. The first document was a contract between Karol Nowak and Pavel Dvorak. It outlined terms of employment, deliveries, payments. Everything was spelled out clearly. Proof of their business relationship. The second document was a list of names, people involved in Pavel's organization, suppliers, buyers, transporters. Tomasz recognized some names. Viktor Beran was on the list. So was Anton Rezek. But there were others he didn't know. One name was circled in red ink. Marek Svoboda. Next to the name, his father had written a note. Trust no one, especially him. Who is Marek Svoboda? Tomasz asked. His mother shook her head. I don't know. I never heard your father mention that name. Tomasz set the document aside. He looked at the photographs. The first showed two men standing outside a warehouse. One was tall, broad shoulders. He wore a coat and hat. Even in the photograph, Tomasz could see a scar on his right hand. This was the man Vera and Viktor described, the man who followed his father. The second photograph showed the same man with another person, younger, wearing glasses. The second man from the train station. Both men were real. His father had photographed them. The third photograph showed these two men with a third person. A man in his 40s, well-dressed, confident posture. This must be their boss, the person who sent them. Tomasz turned the photograph over. On the back, his father had written one word. Svoboda. So Marek Svoboda was behind everything. He sent the two men. He orchestrated the theft. He ordered his father's death. But who was he? And where was he now? Tomasz picked up the USB drive. We need to see what's on this, he said. Do you have a computer? His mother nodded. She led him to the small computer in the corner. Old, but functional. Tomasz inserted the USB drive. The computer took a moment to recognize it. Then a folder opened. Inside was a video file, dated 2 days before his father's disappearance. Tomasz clicked on it. The screen showed his father sitting at this very desk, in this very room. He looked tired, scared, but determined. He began to speak. If you are watching this, he said, then something has happened to me. I want you to know the truth. I want you to know I did everything to protect you, to protect our family. But I got involved with dangerous people, people who value money more than human life. The man responsible is named Marek Svoboda. He works for Pavel Dvorak. But Pavel doesn't know what Marek is planning. Marek is going to steal the diamond shipment. He is going to kill me. He is going to frame me as a thief. I have evidence, photographs, documents, names, everything you need to prove what happened. Take this to the police. Make sure Marek pays for his crimes. Make sure Pavel knows he has a traitor in his organization. Tell your mother I love her. Tell Tomasz I am sorry. Sorry for the choices I made. Sorry for leaving you both. But know that everything I did was for you, to give you a better life. I failed. But maybe this evidence can give you justice. Goodbye. The video ended. The screen went black. Tomasz and his mother stood in silence. Tears ran down his mother's face. Tomasz put his arm around her. She leaned against him. They had the truth now. They had proof. Marek Svoboda killed his father. And now they had to find him. They had to make him pay. Tomasz stayed with his mother that night. She didn't want to be alone. Neither did he. They sat together in the living room, drinking tea, talking about his father, sharing memories. It was the first real conversation they had about Karol in years. His mother had locked her grief away for so long. Now it poured out. She told stories Tomasz had never heard, about how she met Karol, how he courted her with flowers and poems, how he proposed on a bridge over the river, how happy they were in the beginning, before the debts, before the fear, before everything fell apart. She cried. Tomasz cried with her. They held each other. Two people bound by loss and love. In the morning, Tomasz called Pavel. He told him about the safe, about the documents, about the video, about Marek Svoboda. There was a long silence on the other end. Then Pavel spoke. His voice was strained. Marek worked for me, he said. He was one of my most trusted people. I never suspected him. Never. Where is he now? Tomasz asked. I don't know, Pavel admitted. He disappeared around the same time as your father. I assumed he got scared and left the business. I never connected the two events, but now it makes sense. He stole the diamonds. He killed your father and Anton. Then he vanished with millions. We need to find him, Tomasz said. We need to make him pay. Agreed, Pavel said. I will use all my resources. I still have contacts, people who owe me favors. If Marek is alive, we will find him. What about the police? Tomasz asked. Should we give them the evidence? Not yet, Pavel said. If we involve police now, everything becomes official. Legal processes take time. Marek might hear about it and disappear again. We need to find him first. Then we can decide what to do. Tomasz wasn't sure about that. But he trusted Pavel's judgment. Pavel had been in this world for decades. He knew how it worked. They agreed to meet that afternoon. Pavel would bring everything he had on Marek. Old files, photographs, last known addresses. They would start there. Tomasz spent the morning at the workshop. He tried to focus on work, but his mind kept drifting. Jakub noticed. Are you sure you're okay, boss? Jakub asked. You've been distracted for days. I'm dealing with some family issues, Tomasz said. It's complicated, but I'm okay. Just need to work through some things. If you need help, Jakub said, I'm here. You've been good to me. I want to return the favor. Tomasz smiled. Thank you. I appreciate that, but this is something I need to handle myself. At noon, Pavel arrived. He looked worse than before. The cancer was progressing. His skin had a gray tone. His movements were slower. but his eyes still burned with determination. They went to Tomasz's office. Pavel spread files across the desk. "This is everything I have on Marek," he said. "Born in Brno, 1968. Parents died when he was young. Raised by an uncle who was involved in organized crime. Marek learned the business early. By the time he was 25, he was running operations independently. I recruited him when he was 30. He worked for me for 8 years, until he disappeared." "What kind of person was he?" Tomasz asked. "Smart," Pavel said. "Very smart, calculating. He could plan operations with precision. He was good with numbers, good with people. Everyone liked him, trusted him. That's what made him dangerous. Nobody suspected he could betray them. Did he have family? Friends?" "No family," Pavel said. "No close friends either. He kept people at a distance. All business, no personal relationships. That should have been a red flag. But I was focused on results, and Marek delivered results." "Where did he live?" Tomasz asked. "Praha," Pavel said. "A nice apartment in the city center. But he also had a cottage, somewhere in the countryside. He went there sometimes. To be alone," he said. "I never visited. He never invited anyone." "Do you know where this cottage is?" Pavel shook his head. He kept that information private. "But I have people searching property records, looking for anything registered under his name or his aliases." Tomasz looked at the photographs of Marek. A handsome man, confident smile, expensive clothes. He looked like a successful businessman, not a killer, not a thief. But that was the point. The best criminals never looked like criminals. "What about the 2 men who followed my father?" Tomasz asked. "The tall one with the scar and the younger one with glasses. Who were they?" Pavel pulled out 2 more files. "These are my best guesses," he said. "The tall one is probably Radek Kola, enforcer, former military, discharged for excessive violence, hired by various criminal organizations for wet work, known for a burn scar on his right hand from a grenade accident. The younger one is likely Petr Novotny, electronics expert, surveillance specialist, worked with Radek on several jobs. They were a team." "Where are they now?" "Dead," Pavel said flatly. "Both of them. Radek was found in a river 3 months after your father disappeared. Shot twice in the head. Petr's body was discovered in a burned car 2 weeks after that. Also shot. Marek cleaned up loose ends," Tomasz said. "Everyone who knew about the theft is dead, except Marek himself." "Exactly," Pavel agreed. "He was thorough, professional. He left no witnesses, no evidence, nothing that could connect him to the crimes. If your father hadn't left that video and those documents, we would never have known the truth." Tomasz felt a chill. His father was murdered by a ghost, a man who erased his own tracks, a man who disappeared completely. "How do we find someone like that?" "We follow the money," Pavel said. "Marek stole diamonds worth millions. He had to sell them, convert them to cash. That leaves a trail. It might be faint, but it exists. I have people checking with diamond dealers across Europe, checking for large sales around the time of the theft. Someone will remember. Someone always remembers." "What if he left Europe?" Tomasz asked. "What if he went to Asia or South America?" "Possible," Pavel admitted, "but unlikely. Marek was European. He knew the systems here, the contacts, the safe places. He would want to stay somewhere familiar. My guess is he's still in the Czech Republic or somewhere nearby. Poland, maybe. Austria. Germany. We'll find him. Tomáš hoped Pavel was right, but doubt crept into his mind. 15 years was a long time. Marek could be anywhere. He could be anyone. He could have a new identity, a new life. Finding him seemed impossible. As if reading his thoughts, Pavel spoke. "Don't lose faith," he said. "We're closer now than anyone has ever been. We have evidence. We have names. We have motivation. And most importantly, we have time." Marek thinks he's safe. He thinks nobody is looking for him anymore. That's his weakness. Complacency. They spent the afternoon going through every document, every photograph, every note, looking for clues, patterns, anything that might point to where Marek went. In one file, Tomáš found bank records, accounts belonging to Marek. The accounts were closed shortly after the theft. All funds withdrawn in cash, millions of crowns, gone without a trace. But there was one transaction that stood out. A wire transfer made 2 days before the accounts were closed. 50,000 crowns sent to a bank in Linek, Austria. "What's this?" Tomáš pointed to the transaction. Pavel looked. "I don't know," he said. "I never noticed that before. 50,000 is not much compared to the total. Maybe he was setting up an escape route, opening an account in Austria to hide money." "We should check it out," Tomáš said. "That bank might have information." "Records, a current address. It's worth a try," Pavel agreed. "I'll make some calls, see if I can get information from the bank. But it won't be easy. Banking privacy high for you. Strict. They won't give information to just anyone." "Then we go there in person," Tomáš said. "We show them the evidence. We explain the situation. We make them help us." Pavel smiled. "You have your father's determination," he said. "Okay, we'll go to Linek tomorrow. We'll see what we can find." That evening, Tomáš returned to his mother's house. He wanted to check on her, make sure she was okay. She was sitting in the garden when he arrived, surrounded by flowers, the place where she felt closest to Karel. Tomáš sat beside her. They watched the sunset behind the mountains. "How are you feeling, Mama?" he asked. "Tired," she said, "but also relieved. Knowing the truth is better than wondering, even if the truth is painful." "Do you think we'll find Marek?" Tomáš asked. "I think you will," she said. "You're like your father. When you set your mind to something, you don't give up. Just promise me you'll be careful. These are dangerous people. I don't want to lose you too." "I promise," Tomáš said. "I'll be careful." His mother took his hand. "Your father loved you so much," she said. "He talked about you constantly, how proud he was, how excited he was to see the man you would become. If he could see you now, fighting for justice, fighting for truth, he would be so proud." Tomáš felt tears threatening again. He blinked them back. "I'm doing this for him," he said, "and for you, and for everyone whose lives were destroyed by Marek's greed." His mother squeezed his hand. "I know," she said, "and that makes me proud too." The next morning, Tomáš and Pavel drove to Linek. The drive took 3 hours. They crossed the Salmona border into Austria without incident. Linek was a beautiful city. Old architecture, clean streets, the Danube River flowing through the center. They found the bank easily, a modern building near the city center. Inside, they asked to speak with a manager. A woman in her 50s came out. She introduced herself as Frau Müller. She was professional but cold. "How can I help you?" she asked in German. Tomáš spoke basic German, enough to communicate. Pavel's German was better. They explained their situation. They showed the bank records, the wire transfer. They explained they were looking for information about the account holder. Frau Müller looked at the documents carefully. "I'm sorry," she said. "I cannot provide information about our clients. Banking privacy is very strict in Austria." "Even with evidence of criminal activity?" Pavel asked. "Even then," she said, "you would need a court order, a request from authorities. I cannot help you without proper legal documentation." "Please," Tomáš said. "My father was murdered by this man. We just need to know if the account is still active. If there's any recent activity. We're not asking for account details, just confirmation he was here." Frau Müller's expression softened slightly. She looked at Tomáš. She could see his pain, his desperation. "Wait here," she said finally. "Let me check something." She disappeared into a back office. Tomáš and Pavel waited. Minutes felt like hours. The bank was quiet, only the soft sound of keyboards clicking. People conducting their business, normal people with normal problems, not hunting for murderers, not seeking justice for fathers long dead. Finally, Frau Müller returned. She looked troubled, uncertain. She sat down across from them. "I shouldn't be telling you this," she said quietly. "But I looked at your faces. I saw your pain. And I have a son your age. If something happened to me, I would want someone to help him find answers. The account is still active," she continued. "It has been active for 15 years. Regular deposits, small amounts, nothing that would raise suspicion, but consistent, like someone maintaining a safe place for money." "Where are the deposits coming from?" Pavel asked. "That I cannot tell you," Frau Müller said. "That would violate too many rules. But I can tell you the account holder has accessed the account in person 3 times in the past 5 years." "3 times?" Tomáš leaned forward. "When was the last time?" 6 months ago," she said. "He came to the branch, made a withdrawal. 10,000 euros. Cash. Did anyone see him? Can you describe him?" "I saw him," Frau Müller said. "Briefly. He was in his 50s, grey hair, well-dressed. He wore expensive sunglasses even inside the bank. He was polite but distant, didn't make conversation, just conducted his business and left." "That's him," Pavel said. "That's Marek." "Did he give an address?" Tomáš asked. "Anything that might tell us where he lives?" Frau Müller hesitated. She was already breaking rules. Going for who further could cost her job. But she made a decision. She wrote something on a piece of paper. She slid it across the desk. "This is the address on file," she said. "I don't know if it's current, but it's what we have. If anyone asks, I never gave you this. We never had this conversation." "Thank you," Tomáš said. "Thank you so much." Frau Müller nodded. "Find justice for your father," she said. "But be careful. Men who kill once will kill again." They left the bank quickly. Outside, Pavel looked at the paper. An address in a small town called Holstadt, about 90 kilometers south of Linek, a tourist town. Beautiful, quiet, the perfect place to hide in plain sight. "We should go there now," Tomáš said. "We're so close." Pavel looked at him, then nodded. "Let's finish this," he said. They drove south, through the Austrian countryside. Mountains rose around them. Lakes sparkled in the afternoon sun. It was beautiful, peaceful. Hard to imagine evil existing in such a place. But Tomasz knew evil existed everywhere. It wore nice clothes. It smiled politely. It hid behind beauty and normalcy. Hallstatt appeared like something from a fairy tale. A small village nestled between mountains and a crystal blue lake. Old houses with wooden balconies. Narrow cobblestone streets. Tourists walked everywhere, taking photographs, enjoying the scenery. Pavel parked near the center of town. They found the address on the paper. It was a small house overlooking the lake. 3 stories, traditional Austrian architecture, painted white with dark wood trim. Flower boxes in every window. It looked expensive, well maintained. The kind of place a man with stolen millions might buy. "Should we knock?" Tomasz asked. Pavel thought for a moment. "No," he said. "Let's watch first. Make sure he's home. Make sure he's alone. We don't know what we're walking into." They found a cafe across the street. They sat at an outdoor table, ordered coffee they didn't drink. Watched the house. An hour passed. Nothing. 2 hours. Still nothing. "Maybe he's not home," Tomasz said. "Maybe he travels. Maybe the bank address is old." Then the front door opened. A man stepped out. Grey hair, late 50s. He wore casual clothes, a sweater and slacks. He looked fit, healthy, comfortable. He looked nothing like a man who murdered 3 people and stole millions. He looked like any other retired gentleman enjoying his peaceful life. "That's him," Pavel said quietly. "That's Marek." Tomasz felt rage building inside him. This man killed his father. This man destroyed his family. This man lived in luxury while his mother waited and grieved for 15 years. He started to stand. Pavel grabbed his arm. "Not here," Pavel said. "Too many witnesses, too many people. We need to be smart about this." "What do we do?" Tomasz asked. "We follow him," Pavel said. "See where he goes. Then we confront him somewhere private. We get a confession. Then we decide what to do with him." They watched Marek walk down the street. He stopped at a bakery, bought bread, exchanged pleasantries with the baker. Everyone seemed to know him. He was part of the community, trusted, liked. The perfect disguise. He continued walking, down to the lakefront. He sat on a bench, looked out at the water. He seemed at peace, content, like a man with no guilt, no conscience. Tomasz and Pavel followed at a distance, trying to look like tourists. After 20 minutes, Marek stood up. He walked back toward his house. This was their chance. The streets were quieter now, fewer people around. Pavel nodded to Tomasz. They approached quickly. "Marek!" Pavel called out. Marek froze. He turned slowly. When he saw Pavel, his face went white. All color drained away. His eyes went wide. His mouth opened, but no words came out. "Hello, Marek," Pavel said calmly. "It's been a long time." Marek looked around, looking for escape routes, but Tomasz moved to block his path. There was nowhere to run. "Pavel," Marek said finally. His voice was shaky. I didn't expect to see you here. I didn't expect to see you anywhere, Pavel said. I thought you were dead, or at least gone forever. But here you are, living comfortably on stolen money. I don't know what you're talking about, Marek said. He tried to sound confident, but failed. I'm retired. I moved here years ago. I have nothing to do with the past. Liar, Tomasz said. His voice was hard. Cold. You killed my father. You killed Karol Nowak. You stole the diamonds and framed him as a thief. Marek looked at Tomasz. Confusion crossed his face. Who are you? I'm Karol's son, Tomasz said, and I have proof of everything you did. We have documents, photographs, a video confession from my father naming you. You're finished. Marek's expression changed. The fear remained, but something else appeared. Calculation. His mind was working, looking for a way out. Even now, trapped, he was planning. Let's talk inside, Marek said, not out here in the street. We can discuss this like civilized people. There's nothing to discuss, Tomasz said. We're taking you to the police. You're going to pay for what you did. Wait, Marek said. Please, just hear me out. 5 minutes, that's all I ask. If you still want to turn me in after that, I won't resist. Pavel looked at Tomasz. Tomasz hesitated. He didn't want to give this man anything. But he was curious. What could Marek possibly say that would matter? Fine, Tomasz said. 5 minutes. They went inside the house. The interior was beautiful. Modern furniture, expensive art on the walls, large windows overlooking the lake. Everything money could buy. Money stolen from honest work. Money paid in blood. Marek gestured to the sitting area. They sat. Marek remained standing. He looked nervous, guilty, but also strangely relieved, like a man tired of running. I did steal the diamonds, he said. I won't deny that. And I did arrange for Karol to take the fall. But I didn't kill him. What? Tomasz stood up. You're lying. My father said in his video that you were going to kill him. I planned to, Marek admitted, but I didn't go through with it. I couldn't. I'm many things. A thief, a liar, a coward. But I'm not a murderer. Then who killed my father? Tomasz demanded. Anton Rezek, Marek said quietly. Your trusted contact? Pavel's face showed shock. That's impossible. Anton was loyal. He worked for me for 20 years. He was loyal to money, Marek said. More loyal than to you. I approached him months before the diamond shipment. I offered him a deal. Help me steal the diamonds. We split the profits. He agreed immediately. He was the one who gave me all the information. Dates, locations, security details. Everything. And he was the one who killed Karol. Why? Tomasz asked. Why kill him if you already had the diamonds? Because Karol saw us, Marek said. During the exchange, Karol was supposed to meet Anton alone. But I was there too. I was stupid. I wanted to see the diamonds with my own eyes. Karol recognized me. He knew I worked for Pavel. He realized immediately what was happening. He tried to run. Anton shot him, twice in the chest, killed him instantly. We took his body to the river, weighted it down, threw it in. It should never have been found. But nature has a way of revealing secrets. Bodies surface. Truth surfaces. Tomasz felt dizzy. His father's body was in a river, somewhere at the bottom. Cold, dark, alone for 15 years. "Where?" he asked. His voice was barely a whisper. "Where did you put him?" "The Vltava River," Marek said. "North of Praha. There's an old bridge near an abandoned mill. We threw him off that bridge in the middle of the night. I'm sorry. I didn't want it to happen that way. I just wanted the money." But Anton said we had no choice. We had to eliminate the witness. Tomasz lunged at Marek. Pavel grabbed him, held him back. Tomasz struggled, but Pavel was stronger than he looked. "Let me go," Tomasz shouted. "Let me kill him. He deserves to die." "He does deserve to die," Pavel said. "But not like this. Not by your hand. You're not a killer, Tomasz. Don't become one because of him." Marek stood there, tears running down his face. "I've lived with the guilt every day," he said. "Every single day for 15 years. The money means nothing. The house means nothing. I can't sleep. I can't find peace. I came here to escape. But you can't escape your conscience. I wanted to turn myself in 1,000 times. But I was too afraid. Too weak." Pavel let go of Tomasz. Tomasz stood there breathing hard, fighting his rage, fighting his desire for revenge. Then Pavel spoke. His voice was cold as ice. "You said Anton killed Karol," Pavel said. "But who killed Anton?" Marek looked down. "I did," he said quietly. "He wanted more money. He threatened to tell you everything unless I gave him a bigger share. So I killed him, made it look like an accident. The car crash. And the two enforcers, Radek and Petar. They were loose ends," Marek said. "They followed Karol to Praha. They saw what happened. So yes, I killed them too. Made it look like gang violence." "So you are a murderer," Pavel said. "You killed 3 people, 4 if we count Karol." Marek nodded. "Yes," he said. "I am a murderer. And I deserve whatever punishment you decide. But please, let me give you something first. Something that might provide closure." "What?" Tomasz asked. "What could you possibly give me?" "Your father's body," Marek said. "I can show you exactly where we put him. You can bring him home, give him a proper burial. Your mother deserves that. You deserve that." He looked at both of them. His face showed genuine remorse. Or maybe it was just fear. It was hard to tell. "Take me to the police if you want," Marek said. "But first, let me do this one good thing. Let me help you bring Karol home." Tomasz and Pavel sat in silence, processing what Marek had just told them. The truth was different from what they expected. Worse in some ways, better in others. At least now they knew where Karol's body was. At least they could bring him home. But the knowledge came with a price. The image of his father being shot, thrown into a river like garbage. It was too much, too painful. Tomasz felt tears on his face. He didn't bother wiping them away. Pavel looked old suddenly, older than his years. The betrayal of Anton cut deep. 20 years of trust destroyed in an instant. He had relied on Anton, considered him almost a friend. And all that time, Anton was capable of murder, capable of betrayal for money. It made Pavel question everything, everyone. His whole life seemed built on sand. "We need to verify your story," Pavel said to Marek. "You could be lying, trying to buy time." "I understand," Marek said. "I'll prove it. to you. We can go tonight, to the bridge. I'll show you exactly where we put him. Then you can decide what to do with me." "Why tonight?" Tomasz asked. "Why not now?" "Because we need equipment," Marek said. "The river is deep there. Dark. We'll need lights, rope. Maybe diving equipment if you want to recover the body. And we need darkness. That area is isolated, but sometimes people pass by during the day. We don't want attention." Pavel considered this. It made sense, as much as he hated to admit it. "We'll go tonight," Pavel decided. "But you stay with us until then. You don't leave our sight." "Understood." Marek nodded. "I won't run. I have nowhere left to run." They spent the afternoon preparing. Marek had equipment in his basement. Powerful flashlights, rope. A small boat he used for fishing. Everything they needed. Tomasz watched him carefully, looking for any sign of deception, any indication this was a trap. But Marek seemed genuine, defeated. A man who had carried guilt for 15 years and was finally ready to put it down. As evening approached, Pavel made phone calls. He contacted people he trusted, people who could help if things went wrong. He told them where they were going, what they were doing. If he didn't call back by morning, they would know something happened. They would come looking. It was insurance, protection against whatever Marek might be planning. Tomasz called his mother. He didn't tell her everything, just that they had a lead, that they might be able to bring his father home. She cried on the phone. Tears of joy mixed with sorrow. The thought of finally laying her husband to rest was overwhelming. "Promise me you'll be careful," she said. "Promise me you'll come home safe." "I promise," Tomasz said. "I love you, Mama." "I love you too," she whispered. At 10 o'clock, they loaded the equipment into Pavel's car. Marek sat in the back seat. Tomasz sat next to him, making sure he didn't try anything. Pavel drove. They left Hallstatt behind. The beautiful village disappeared in the darkness. They drove north, back toward the Czech border. The roads were empty. Only occasional trucks passing in the opposite direction. Nobody spoke. Each man lost in his own thoughts. After 2 hours, they crossed back into the Czech Republic. The border guards waved them through without inspection. Another hour of driving, through small villages, past dark forests. The moon was nearly full. It cast silver light across the landscape. Finally, Marek spoke. "Take the next left," he said. "There's a small road, barely paved. It leads to the old mill." Pavel turned. The car bumped along a rough dirt road. Trees pressed close on both sides. Branches scraped against the windows. After 10 minutes, the mill appeared. A crumbling stone building, windows broken. Roof collapsed in places. It had been abandoned for decades, maybe longer. The river ran beside it, dark and silent. The sound of water flowing over rocks was the only noise. "This is it," Marek said. "The bridge is just ahead." They parked near the mill, got out. The air was cold, damp. It smelled of earth and decay. Tomasz shivered. Not from cold, from the knowledge that his father died here, that his last moments were in this lonely, forgotten place. They walked to the bridge. It was old. Wooden planks over stone supports. Some planks were missing. Others were rotten. It looked dangerous. "We threw him from the middle," Marek said. "The river is deepest there. About 10 meters. We weighted him down with chains and concrete blocks. We thought he would stay down forever. But nothing stays buried forever, Pavel said. Truth always finds a way to surface. They stood on the bridge, looking down at the black water. Tomasz tried to imagine what happened that night 15 years ago. His father standing here, realizing he was going to die, thinking about his family, hoping someone would find the truth someday. And now someone had. His son had. Tomasz knelt down. He touched the wooden planks, as if somehow he could connect with his father through them. "I'm here, Papa," he whispered. "I found you. I'm going to bring you home." Pavel put a hand on his shoulder. "Your father would be proud," he said. "You never gave up. Just like he never gave up on protecting you." They spent an hour searching, using the flashlights, looking for any sign of the body. But the water was too dark, too deep. They would need professional help. Divers, sonar equipment, recovery teams. This wasn't something they could do alone. "We need to call the police," Pavel said. "Tell them what we know. Let them handle the recovery." "No," Tomasz said. "Not yet. Not until we're sure." Marek could be lying. This could be a wild goose chase. He could be buying time while accomplices come for us. "I'm not lying," Marek insisted. "I swear on my life. Your father is down there. But I understand your doubt. Give me the flashlight. Let me look. There's a marking. Something I put there afterward. A reminder of what I did." "What kind of marking?" Pavel asked. "A stone," Marek said. "A large, flat stone on the bank directly below where we threw him. I carved his initials into it. KN. Like the initials in the watch. I don't know why I did it. Maybe guilt. Maybe a twisted sense of memorial. But it's there. If you find that stone, you'll know I'm telling the truth." Tomasz took the flashlight. He climbed down the bank carefully. The ground was slippery, muddy. He nearly fell twice. But he made it to the water's edge. He searched, moving the light slowly across the rocks, looking for carvings, for initials. Minutes passed. Then he saw it. A flat stone, larger than the others, and carved into its surface, worn but still visible, were the letters KN. "He found it," Tomasz called up. "The stone is here. He's telling the truth." Pavel looked at Marek. "So you were honest," he said. "For once in your miserable life, you told the truth." "I told you," Marek said quietly. "I'm tired of lying, tired of running. I just want it to be over." Tomasz climbed back up. He was covered in mud, but he didn't care. His father was here. Really here. After 15 years of searching, of wondering, of hoping, he finally knew where his father was. "Now what?" he asked Pavel. "Now we call the authorities," Pavel said. "We tell them everything. We give them the evidence. We let justice take its course." "And what about him?" Tomasz looked at Marek. "What happens to him?" "That's not for us to decide," Pavel said. "That's for the courts, for the law. We're not executioners. We're just men seeking truth. Marek will face trial. He'll spend the rest of his life in prison. That's punishment enough." "Is it?" Tomasz asked. "Is prison enough for killing 4 people, for destroying families, for living in luxury while others suffered?" Pavel was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. "No, he said. It's not enough. Nothing would be enough. But it's what we have. It's the difference between justice and revenge. Your father would want justice, not revenge. He would want you to be better than the people who killed him. Tomasz knew Pavel was right. But it was hard. So hard. He wanted to hurt Marek, wanted him to feel the pain he caused. But that wouldn't bring his father back. That wouldn't heal his mother. That wouldn't change anything. It would just make Tomasz into something he didn't want to be. Pavel pulled out his phone. He dialed a number, spoke quietly, gave their location, told them to bring recovery equipment and police. They would be there in an hour, maybe less. They waited by the bridge, 3 men bound by tragedy. Tomasz sat on the ground, looking at the river, thinking about his father, about all the time that was lost, all the memories that never happened. Birthdays, holidays, important moments. His father missed everything, missed watching him grow up, missed seeing him become a man, missed knowing his son never stopped loving him, never stopped searching for him. Pavel stood apart, his phone in his hand. He was thinking about Anton, about how wrong he had been, how blind. He prided himself on reading people, on knowing who to trust. But he had been completely fooled. Anton smiled at him, worked beside him, all while planning murder and theft. It made Pavel question his judgment, his choices, his whole career. Maybe he deserved to die of cancer. Maybe it was karma for the life he lived, for the things he did, for the people he hurt in pursuit of money and power. Marek sat with his back against a tree. He looked peaceful, relieved. The weight he carried for 15 years was finally being lifted. Soon he would be in custody. Soon he would face trial. His comfortable life was over. His freedom was over. Everything was over. But at least the running would stop. At least the nightmares would end. Prison couldn't be worse than living with the guilt, with the memories, with the faces of the people he killed haunting his sleep. Headlights appeared in the distance. Multiple vehicles, police cars, an ambulance, a van with recovery equipment. They approached slowly, carefully navigating the rough road. When they arrived, officers got out. A detective approached Pavel. He knew Pavel from years ago. They had an understanding. The detective listened as Pavel explained everything. He showed the evidence, the documents, the photographs, the video from Karol. The detective's expression grew darker with each revelation. "This is big," the detective said. "Bigger than I expected. There will be investigations, trials. It will take months, maybe years. But you did good work. You found the truth. That's what matters." They arrested Marek, read him his rights, put him in handcuffs. He didn't resist, didn't protest, just went quietly. Before they put him in the car, he looked at Tomasz. "I'm sorry," he said. "I know it doesn't help. I know it doesn't change anything. But I am truly sorry." Tomasz said nothing. He just watched as they drove Marek away. The recovery team set up lights, prepared diving equipment. It would take time. Hours, maybe. But they would find Karol's body. They would bring him up. They would bring him home. Tomasz and Pavel stayed. They wanted to be there, needed to be there. As dawn broke, the divers found the body. Weighted down, just as Marek described. They brought it up carefully, respectfully. After 15 years in the water, there wasn't much left. Just bones and scraps of clothing. But it was enough. DNA testing would confirm the identity. But Tomasz already knew. He felt it. His father was finally coming home. An officer approached. "We'll take good care of him," the officer said. "We'll make sure he gets home to your mother. You have our word." "Thank you," Tomasz said. His voice was hoarse from exhaustion and emotion. "Thank you for everything." Pavel and Tomasz drove back as the sun rose. Neither spoke. There was nothing left to say. They had done what they set out to do. They found the truth. They found Karol. Now the healing could begin. For Tomasz. For his mother. For everyone touched by this tragedy. The watch sat in Tomasz's pocket. The watch that started everything. The watch with his father's initials. He would keep it. Pass it down to his own children someday. Tell them about their grandfather, about his strength, his sacrifice, his love. The watch would be a reminder, not of death and tragedy, but of truth and justice, of a son who never gave up, of a father who never stopped protecting his family, even in death. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of police interviews, of lawyers, of paperwork, of waiting. The DNA results came back. The body recovered from the river was confirmed to be Karol Nowak. The news spread through the town. Everyone knew. Everyone talked about it. The mechanic's father, who disappeared 15 years ago, had been found. Murdered. Thrown in a river. It was shocking. Tragic. The whole community rallied around Tomasz and his mother. Neighbors brought food. Friends offered support. The church organized a memorial service. Tomasz's mother finally had closure. She could grieve properly now. She could say goodbye. She could let go of the hope that had tortured her for so long. Hope that Karol would walk through the door someday. That hope had kept her going, but it had also kept her trapped. Now she was free. Free to mourn. Free to heal. Free to live the rest of her life without that weight. The funeral was held on a Saturday. The church was full. People Tomasz didn't even know came to pay respects. His father had touched many lives, been kind to many people. They remembered. They honored him. The casket was closed. There wasn't much to see after 15 years. But it didn't matter. What mattered was that Karol was home, that he was being laid to rest with dignity, with love. Tomasz stood at the front of the church. He had prepared words to say, a eulogy for his father. But when he stood at the podium, looking at all the faces, the words left him. He stood there silent for a long moment. Then he spoke from his heart. "My father was a good man," he began. His voice was steady, strong. He made mistakes. He got involved in things he shouldn't have. But everything he did was for his family, to protect us, to provide for us. He paid the ultimate price for those choices. His life was taken by men who valued money more than human life. But his legacy lives on. In me, in my mother, in everyone he touched. He taught me to never give up, to fix things that are broken, to search for solutions even when problems seem impossible. I used those lessons to find him, to bring him home, to get justice. Papa, if you can hear me, I want you to know something. I forgive you for the secrets. I forgive you for the choices you made. I understand now. I understand that love sometimes makes us do desperate things. You loved us so much, and we love you. We always will. Rest now. Your fight is over. You're finally home." He stepped down from the podium. His mother embraced him. They cried together, held each other. The grief was overwhelming, but also cleansing, like a storm washing everything clean. Pavel attended the funeral. He sat in the back, quiet, respectful. He looked worse than before. The cancer was winning. His skin was pale. His body was thin. But he came anyway, to pay respect, to say goodbye to a man he failed to protect. After the service, people gathered at the cemetery. The burial was simple, traditional. The priest said prayers. People threw flowers on the casket as it was lowered into the ground. Tomasz watched his father disappear into the earth. Final. Permanent. This was really goodbye. His mother placed a single red rose on the grave, Karol's favorite flower. She whispered something Tomasz couldn't hear. Then she stepped back. Let others say their goodbyes. Tomasz was the last. He knelt beside the grave. He pulled the pocket watch from his jacket, the watch that started everything. He looked at it one more time. The gold case, the intricate engravings, the initials inside. KN. For a moment he considered burying it with his father, returning it to its rightful owner. But then he decided against it. This watch was a gift, a message from beyond, a tool that led to truth. It deserved to be kept, to be remembered. He put it back in his pocket, stood up. "Goodbye, Papa," he said quietly. "Thank you for leading me to the truth. Thank you for never really leaving us. I'll make you proud. I promise." As people left the cemetery, Pavel approached Tomasz. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Of course," Tomasz said. They walked away from the crowd, found a quiet spot under a large oak tree. Pavel looked at Tomasz seriously. "I don't have much time left," Pavel said. "The doctors say weeks, maybe a month if I'm lucky. I need to ask you something." "Anything," Tomasz said. "I've been thinking about my life," Pavel continued, "about the things I've done, the people I've hurt. I can't undo any of it, can't take back the choices I made. But I can try to do some good before I go. I want to set up a fund, money for families affected by crime, by violence, by men like me who valued profit over people. I want your mother to be the first recipient. She shouldn't have to worry about money ever again." "That's very generous," Tomasz said. "But my mother won't accept charity." "It's not charity," Pavel said. "It's restitution. It's acknowledgement of my role in your father's death. If I had been smarter, more careful, if I had vetted my people better, Karol would still be alive. I owe you both more than money can repay. But it's something. Please let me do this." Tomasz thought about it. His mother did struggle financially. The workshop provided enough for Tomasz, but his mother lived modestly, worried about bills. This money could give her security, peace of mind. "Okay," Tomasz said. "I'll talk to her, but only if you let me do something in return." "What?" Pavel asked. "Let me take care of you," Tomasz said. "These last weeks, you shouldn't be alone. You should have family around you, someone to make sure you're comfortable, to sit with you, to help you find peace before the end." Pavel's eyes filled with tears. He tried to speak, but couldn't. Finally, he just nodded. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for showing me what true goodness looks like. You are a better man than I ever was. You are your father's son." They embraced, two men who started as strangers, connected by tragedy, now connected by something deeper: understanding, forgiveness, respect. Pavel moved into a small hotel in Wrocław. Tomasz visited him every day, brought him meals, sat with him. They talked for hours. Pavel told stories about his life, the good and the bad. He held nothing back. He wanted someone to know the truth, all of it. Not just the crimes, but the reasons behind them, the circumstances, the choices that seemed reasonable at the time, but led to darkness. Tomasz listened without judgment. He asked questions, tried to understand. And slowly he saw Pavel not as a monster, but as a man. A flawed man who made terrible choices, but who also had moments of kindness, of loyalty, of love. Pavel had a daughter somewhere. He hadn't seen her in 20 years. She wanted nothing to do with him, couldn't forgive him for the life he led, for the danger he brought to their family. Her mother took her away when she was young, changed their names, disappeared. Pavel never looked for them. He thought they were safer without him. But now, at the end, he regretted it. Regretted not fighting harder, not choosing family over business. "Do you think she would want to know you're dying?" Tomasz asked one afternoon. Pavel shook his head. "I don't think so," he said. "And I don't blame her. I was a terrible father. Absent. Dangerous. She's better off thinking I'm already gone." "Maybe you're wrong," Tomasz said. "Maybe she needs closure too. Everyone deserves a chance to say goodbye." Pavel considered this. Then he gave Tomasz a name, an address he had memorized but never used. "If you think it's right," Pavel said, "you can contact her. Tell her about me. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I loved her even though I did a poor job showing it. If she wants to see me, I'll be here. If not, that's okay too." Tomasz made the call that evening. A woman answered. Her voice was guarded, suspicious. He explained who he was, why he was calling. There was a long silence. Then she spoke. Her name was Katerina. She was 38 years old, a teacher, married with 2 children. She had built a good life, far away from her father's shadow. "I don't know if I want to see him," she said. "He caused so much pain, so much fear. My mother died 5 years ago, still angry at him, still bitter. How do I forgive that?" "You don't have to forgive," Tomasz said gently. "But maybe you need to see him one last time, for yourself, not for him, to close that chapter, to put down the weight you've been carrying. Just think about it. I won't push, but the door is open if you want to walk through it." 2 days later, Katerina arrived in Wrocław. Tomasz met her at the train station. She was nervous. Her hands shook. She kept asking if this was a mistake, if she should turn around and go home. But she stayed. She came to the hotel. Tomasz waited outside, gave them privacy. Father and daughter sat facing each other. Strangers, connected by blood. The conversation was difficult, painful. Pavel apologized. Katerina cried. She asked questions. "Why did you choose that life? Why didn't you fight for us? Why weren't we enough?" Pavel had no good answers, only honest ones. I was weak, he said. I was selfish. I thought I could have both. The money and the power and the family. But that's not how it works. You have to choose. And I chose wrong. I chose everything except what mattered most. I'm sorry doesn't fix anything, Katerina said. It doesn't give me back my childhood. It doesn't erase the nights I cried, wondering why my father didn't love me enough to change. You're right, Pavel said. It doesn't fix anything. But it's all I have. That and the truth. I did love you. I do love you. I was just too broken to show it properly. Too caught up in my own darkness to see the light right in front of me. They talked for 3 hours. Not all wounds healed. Not all anger disappeared. But something shifted. Some small measure of peace was found. When Katerina left, she hugged her father. Brief, awkward, but genuine. Goodbye, Papa, she said. I hope you find peace. Thank you for coming, Pavel said. You gave me a gift I didn't deserve. One more chance to be your father, even if just for a moment. After she left, Pavel looked different. Lighter somehow. The burden of regret had lessened. Not gone, but bearable. Tomasz sat with him. How do you feel? Tomasz asked. Like I can breathe, Pavel said. For the first time in decades, I can actually breathe. You did a good thing, Tomasz said. Calling her, bringing her here. I couldn't have done it without you, Pavel said. You showed me that redemption is possible, not complete redemption. I don't deserve that. But small acts, small moments of grace, those are available even to men like me. The days passed. Pavel grew weaker. The pain increased, but his spirit seemed stronger. He spent his remaining time setting things right. He made arrangements for the fund he promised, money for families affected by crime. He contacted old associates, told them to leave the criminal life, to choose better paths. Some listened, some didn't. But he tried. He wrote letters to people he hurt, to people he betrayed, apologizing, explaining, not asking for forgiveness, just acknowledging the harm he caused. Most letters went unanswered, but a few people wrote back, some with anger, some with their own apologies, some with gratitude for the closure. One morning, Tomasz arrived to find Pavel very weak, barely conscious. The nurse said it would be today, maybe tomorrow, but soon. Tomasz sat beside the bed, held Pavel's hand. Pavel opened his eyes, smiled weakly. You're here, he whispered. Of course I'm here, Tomasz said. Where else would I be? You're a good man, Tomasz Nowak, Pavel said. Your father raised you right. Even though he wasn't there for most of your life, his lessons stuck. His love stuck. That's powerful. That's legacy. Rest now, Tomasz said. Don't try to talk. Save your strength. No, Pavel said. Need to say this. Need you to know. You saved me. Not from death. Can't be saved from that. But from dying with complete emptiness. You gave me purpose at the end. Showed me what goodness looks like. What forgiveness looks like. Thank you. You're welcome, Tomasz said. Tears ran down his face. Thank you for helping me find my father, for giving me truth. We helped each other. Pavel closed his eyes. His breathing slowed, became shallow. Tomasz sat with him, held his hand, talked quietly about his father, about the good times, about hope and healing, about how even broken people can find moments of grace. As the sun set, Pavel took his last breath, peaceful, quiet. Tomasz sat with him for a while longer. Then he called the nurse. It was over. Another chapter closed. 6 months later, life had found a new rhythm, a quieter rhythm, one marked by healing rather than searching, by peace rather than pain. Tomasz stood in his workshop early one morning, the same workshop where everything began, where a wealthy man brought a watch for repair, where a son discovered his father's initials, where a mystery that spanned 15 years finally started to unravel. The workshop looked the same. Tools on the walls, oil stains on the floor, the smell of metal and motor oil. But everything felt different. Tomasz felt different. He had answers now. He had closure. He had laid his father to rest with dignity and love. The weight he carried for 15 years was finally gone. Jakub arrived at 7:30 as always. He was a skilled mechanic now, confident, capable. Tomasz had taught him well, just as his own father had taught him. The cycle continued. Knowledge passed from one generation to the next. "Good morning, boss," Jakub said. "Ready for another day?" "Ready," Tomasz replied. "Always ready." They worked together on a truck that needed new brakes. Simple work, honest work, the kind of work that helped people, that solved problems. That made life a little easier for someone. This was what his father wanted for him. A good life, an honest life, a life of purpose. At noon, Tomasz closed the workshop for lunch. He walked to his mother's house. She had prepared food as she did every week. They ate together, talked, laughed. His mother looked different now, younger somehow. The weight of uncertainty had lifted from her shoulders. She knew what happened to her husband. She knew he didn't abandon her. He didn't choose to leave. He was taken from her. But he loved her until the very end. That knowledge was a gift. It allowed her to remember the good times without bitterness, to honor his memory without anger. She had started painting again. Something she loved when she was young, but abandoned after Karel disappeared. Now she filled canvases with bright colors, scenes from their life together, happy memories, the garden, the house, Karel's smile. Art became her way of keeping him close, of celebrating rather than mourning. "How are you feeling today, Mama?" Tomasz asked. "Good," she said. "Very good, actually. I visited his grave this morning, brought fresh flowers, talked to him about you, about how proud he would be." "Did you tell him about the foundation?" Tomasz asked. She nodded. "I did." The Pavel Dvorak Foundation for Families of Crime Victims had been established with Pavel's money. His daughter Katerina helped manage it. She and Tomasz had become friends, united by their father's complicated legacies. The foundation provided financial support, counseling services, legal assistance, everything families needed when tragedy struck. Tomasz's mother was the first recipient. But there were many others now, dozens of families receiving help, finding hope, building new lives from broken pieces. Marek Svoboda was in prison. He had been sentenced to life without possibility of parole. 4 counts of murder, theft, conspiracy. The trial lasted 3 months. Tomasz attended every day, watched as evidence was presented, as witnesses testified, as justice slowly unfolded. When the verdict was read, Tomasz felt nothing, no joy, no satisfaction, just emptiness. Marek would spend the rest of his life behind bars, but that wouldn't bring anyone back, wouldn't erase the pain. It was necessary but not sufficient. True healing came from other places, from family, from forgiveness, from choosing to move forward rather than staying trapped in the past. Tomasz had visited Marek once after the sentencing, sat across from him in the prison visiting room. They talked for an hour. Marek apologized again. Tomasz listened. Then he said something that surprised both of them. "I forgive you," Tomasz said. "Not because you deserve it, but because I need to let go. I need to stop carrying hate. My father wouldn't want me to become bitter. He would want me to live fully, to love deeply, to find joy. I can't do that while holding on to anger. So I forgive you. I hope you find peace somehow, even here." Marek cried. He said it was the first kindness anyone had shown him in months. That simple act of forgiveness changed something in him. He started helping other inmates, teaching them to read, helping them prepare for life after prison. He would never be free, but he could still do good from where he was, still make small amends for massive wrongs. The afternoon sun streamed through the workshop windows. Tomasz worked on an old car, a classic model from 1970. The owner wanted it restored, brought back to its former glory. Tomasz enjoyed this kind of work, taking something broken and making it beautiful again, finding the good beneath the damage, preserving history, honoring craftsmanship. His phone rang. A woman's voice. She had heard about him, about his skill with mechanical things. She had something unusual. A broken clock, a family heirloom. Very old, very precious. Could he look at it? Tomasz smiled. "Of course," he said. "Bring it by tomorrow. I'll see what I can do." He hung up, looked at the pocket watch sitting on his desk. His father's watch. The watch that changed everything. He picked it up, opened it. The mechanism ticked steadily. He had repaired it weeks ago, cleaned every gear, oiled every spring. Now it kept perfect time. A reminder that broken things can be fixed, that patience and skill can restore what seemed lost forever. He thought about his father, about everything he learned from him, about the legacy that continued, not just in memories, but in actions, in choices, in the way Tomasz treated people, the way he approached problems, the way he loved his mother, the way he forgave his enemies. That was the real inheritance, not money or possessions, but character, values, the determination to make things right even when it seemed impossible. Evening came. Tomasz locked up the workshop, climbed the stairs to his apartment, made dinner. Simple food, bread and soup. But it tasted good, satisfying. He ate slowly, savoring each bite, grateful for this quiet moment, this peaceful life he had built. After dinner, he sat by the window, looked out at the town, lights coming on in windows, people returning home from work, families gathering for evening meals, life continuing in its eternal rhythm, birth and death, joy and sorrow, loss and recovery, It all flowed together. One great river of human experience. His father was part of that river now. Not lost, but transformed, living on in memory, in lessons, in love. Tomasz picked up a pen and paper. He began to write. A letter to his father. Something he did sometimes when he needed to feel close to him. Dear Papa, he wrote, it has been 6 months since we brought you home. 6 months since we laid you to rest. 6 months since I finally heard your voice on that video, telling me you loved me, telling me you were proud. I want you to know something. I am proud too. Proud to be your son. Proud to carry your name. Proud to continue your legacy of fixing things, of never giving up, of loving deeply even when it hurts. You taught me everything that matters, not just how to repair engines, but how to repair lives, how to search for truth, how to forgive, how to hope. Thank you, Papa, for everything, for your sacrifice, for your love, for leading me to answers even from beyond the grave. Rest peacefully. Your son, Tomasz. He folded the letter. Put it in an envelope. Tomorrow he would take it to the cemetery, leave it at the grave. A ritual that brought him comfort, a way of maintaining connection. The watch sat on the table, ticking steadily, marking time, connecting past to present, father to son, loss to healing. Tomasz picked it up one more time, held it in his palm, felt its weight, its history, its meaning. Then he smiled, because he understood now. The watch was never just about finding his father. It was about finding himself, about discovering who he was, who he wanted to be, about learning that love transcends death, that truth matters, that justice is worth fighting for, that forgiveness is possible, that healing happens slowly but surely, that broken things can be made whole again, with patience, with care, with time, and with love, always with love.